Today is July 24th, 2021, and it's time for episode 12 of Pineapples and Thorns. Today we are burning down the house with Rancid Meat, Halligan, and Loblaw. Welcome to the show. We're back. I'm Kat, and tonight Peter is here with me. Hey, Peter.
Hey, Kat. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. How are you doing?
Super.
Excellent. I'm just going to give some updates from around the CFF, and then I'll get you to update us as well, Peter. We have our summer league ongoing. The CFF is doing a 5v5 all Town Hall 14 league this summer, and so far it's been a ton of fun. And we have teams made up of friends from around Clash and CFF members. Weeks 1 and 2 are done, and week 3 is just finishing up as of this recording. And as of the end of week 1, the Knights of Zion were in the number 1 spot, but it's shaping up to be a tight race. We just squared up against Filthy Tryhards, which is run by our good friends at Crystal to Join, Carl and Sino. Peter, why don't you fill in people on that war?
So we're going to have to back up just a wee bit. Mm-hmm. On their latest episode, they actually threw a little shade our way. Good old C-Note said he was looking forward to wrecking my base. So I was able to 3-star his base, and he was not able to 3-star mine. I won that battle, but we ended up losing the war on percentage. Yeah. So
that was a rough one, but lots of fun. Some good attacks for sure, and your attack was pretty OP, I must say.
I thought he had me on time, but the dragons managed to stagger down there.
Excellent. Other events coming up in the CFF. There's an all Town Hall 9 event featuring no witches, no zap, and only Town Hall 9 CCs that has been scheduled to August, and it's open to anyone. All you have to do is join our CFF Discord to sign up. Our planners are also working on the Summer No Siege War, and there are plans for a Guys versus Gals War, and too many other events actually to mention that are still in the planning stages. The CFF is sure hopping. Summer is also a time when some of our members go visiting other clans, and Peter and Miss P have been out visiting some clans, and a number of us went over to Phoenix Reloaded to do a birthday war for their leader, Sky. And it was a 50v50, and that was a lot of fun, and they got a solid win there. Now let's get into the show. We are absolutely thrilled to have the return of Rancid Meat, Halligan, and Loblaw. And if you recall, we had them with us back on episode 9 and had some technical and sound quality issues. Not to mention that we had so much fun that we decided we needed to have them back. Welcome, guys.
Thanks.
Thanks for having me back.
Anyang.
I'll take full credit for the sound and quality issues.
You're sounding much better today.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us back, guys. Appreciate it.
Really happy to have you.
How's everybody's summer going?
Super.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's good getting back into the...
Any exciting vacation plans?
No vacations, but it's nice to be getting out after the summer of COVID last year. So.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Loblaw, what's summer in Italy like?
It's pretty good. It's hot. I was actually back in the States for a little while. We went back and visited some family. And so I live in southern Italy, so the Amalfi Coast is right nearby, and it gets kind of crowded, but it is just gorgeous. Things are going pretty good here. Italy tends to slow down a little bit and shuts down in the month of August, and everybody kind of goes on vacation as a nation, I guess. Yeah.
Wow.
Sounds amazing.
How often do you play socks and sandals, Loblaw?
I don't even know what that is, but is that showing my age, or is just showing my lack of coolness?
No, just spotting the people that are wearing socks and sandals at the same time. I thought that was just a big European no-no. So you.
Oh, geez.
You know.
Oh yeah, that does not happen over here. Nobody wears flip-flops. It's funny. You get the stink eye if you go out to the grocery store in flip-flops. It's like flip-flops for the beach only. Yeah, I know. It's a tradition in the Midwest, when we were living there, but no, style rules here.
Dressing for grocery shopping. Ran, tell us about your garden. I've never seen a more amazing garden. I've seen some pictures that you've been posting. Do you have any tips for us less than green thumbs?
Elevated is so much easier to work with because of the drainage. That's part of what makes it. And then get a big dump truck full of farm dirt. Uh-huh. Something that's been sitting for, good 20, 30 years. It's full of all kinds of crap like marbles and nails.
Marbles and nails.
That'll be good to grow in. That's my suggestion. So
And how much dirt did you put in your backyard?
Well, okay, so we brought in a dump truck full of black dirt, but then I had about a half dump truck of not as good dirt taken away and some gravel brought in. And it's just, a constant exchange between me and the landfill.
So about 20 yards?
Yeah, about that, I think.
Wow.
It looks like something out of a magazine, to be honest.
Oh, well, thank you. But I just try and keep it weeded, and that seems to make the plants grow.
You guys, do you have any hobbies that you're working on other than Clash?
Trying to keep the kids alive, but that's the par for the course around here.
It's more expensive than a hobby, probably.
That's a full-time job.
Absolutely, that's not a hobby.
Yeah, absolutely.
And definitely much more frustrating.
I've gotten into a rabbit hole of a hobby of like wristwatches and learning more about the kind of the technology behind that, or the ancient technology. Not ancient, but pretty old technology about just how people make watches, and just kind of getting involved in all the different types of watches there are. And man, you think Clash was expensive.
Ooh.
It's even more into it, but I'm thankfully poor enough where I'm not too far deep into it. But yeah, that's just like anything, as soon as it sparks an interest, that, like I said before in the previous show, the type of person that plays Clash tends not to be a casual type person when it comes to hobbies. So I'm definitely feeling the urge to exercise some self-control in that hobby, because it can get pretty ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
I got to talk to you because I've got a watch from my grandfather who got it from his company for 10 years of service, 20 years of service, whatever, back in 1959.
Ooh.
Wow.
And just doing a little bit of research on it. Apparently it was the watch that James Bond wore, Sean Connery wore in one of the first James Bond movies. I can't remember the name of it, but I'll shoot you a picture and a message of it.
Oh wow, must be a Rolex or something. Yeah. Oh, I'd love to see that. Yeah. No.
No. I think it's an Italian brand that's no longer around.
Okay, gotcha.
Very cool.
But yeah, I'll shoot you a picture of it.
Yeah, it's funny. Like you start getting into watches, and you start seeing one that you like, and then you start noticing it in movies and stuff like that. It's kind of like you never notice a car until you buy that car, and then everywhere you look, that car is around, and you're like, where did these come from? It's the exact same sort of thing.
Now, would you move into like clocks and stuff like that just because they're bigger as your eyesight goes, Loblaw? Do you think that you'd make that transition?
Maybe just bigger watches. I don't know, or maybe like an alarm clock that I can wear around my neck. That might be good.
Well, I can tell you, like, clocks have been around even longer than watches and things like that, just because they were easier to make, and the materials didn't need to be quite as good as they do need to be in watches. And I used to actually work at a clock repair place for a little while.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
So that's just kind of interesting that you're taking that hobby up. I don't know. It's just kind of, I haven't talked to too many people that found clockmaking or watchmaking any kind of interest whatsoever. It's a really forgotten sort of art.
Yeah. And it's really funny because any $20 digital watch is just as or more accurate than like these like watches that are thousands of dollars. Mm-hmm. It's sometimes it's more than just accuracy that watch people are after. It's kind of like the whole like wearing a universe on your wrist, that people are interested in. But I don't know. That's enough about that.
Yeah, let's get back to the question.
We can start a new podcast on watch repair.
Yeah. You just added all this garbage out here.
So I would really like to know then, how did you guys get involved with the podcast in the first place? And then how did your roles evolve? I know you didn't start as the main hosts, but you eventually evolved into those main hosts.
I mean, for us at least, it was, I don't know if there was a conscious decision that Coop was going to be sort of the one that introduced everybody. Does that make you the lead? I'm not really sure. Nat was, again, I think just as much of an equal partner in having a drive and getting it going. I don't know how to put it exactly, but just being a drive to be a content creator. Hal came in.
Yeah, for sure. Coop and Nat really had the idea and pushed for it, and basically came to us to see if we'd want to just contribute more than anything. And then once the first episode was recorded, it was like, no, we're a team. This is we've got to keep going with this.
Well, Hal, I think part of the reason that you were brought in is that you were such a communal person.
I didn't piss anybody off.
No, it was even more than that, though. It's that you really, made people feel like they just were comfortable around you. You're just like a warm blanket. And for me, I think it was just, I was always around and I was willing to do some of the editing for the show. So after they left, though, I
think part of it was that you had a lot of voice experience from when we first. Oh, what was that app that we used at first?
TeamSpeak.
I can't even remember.
It was TeamSpeak. Yeah.
TeamSpeak. That's right. We'd have Clash After Dark on TeamSpeak. You had a lot of speaking experience throughout that, and that was very appealing to all of us.
Well, that was just because I didn't have any real friends. All I had was the internet weirdos.
That's what happens when you live up in the Western Canada.
Yeah, there's nothing to do up here, so you better get on the internet if you can get it. Get out the moose antlers and get them pointed in the right direction. O'Malley used to joke me about that. There was he had a picture of this handsome model with long flowing hair and moose antlers coming out of the top of it, riding a horse, and kept calling it me.
That poor moose.
I don't know where it came from, but the transition, though, when Nat and Coop kind of retired in the February after we started the show up, we didn't really have a conversation as to who was going to introduce who or anything like that, did we, Hal?
No, it was just natural going through the motions,
Yeah, the first episode was just like, okay, here we go. Let's see what happens. Get into the guests as quick as you can so that we, don't have to kind of try and fill that void immediately. And it was a point of difficult transition, I think, to go from the 4 hosts to just us 2 and keeping the same feel to the show. It was almost impossible. Each personality brought a quarter to the pie, and now we're trying to maybe make strawberry rhubarb instead of just having a peach pie. Well, pie is always good.
I like the analogy there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It really is amazing how much work goes into it behind the scenes. There's like the technical work, right? And that's like the editing, which is just interminable, right? It's so long, if you really want to do it right. And then it's not just that, it's like the coordination piece, like, just getting everybody on the same time. And, all of us are in different time zones. And that causes some strain. And then like, the how to get on to make sure people are all on and you can hear them and everything.
For sure.
I remember early on, a lot of people are leery about just even having their voice heard, right? So they'd be like, "Oh, I don't really, my voice sounds funny. I don't want to be on the podcast." Like we had to deal with a couple of those, and all these funny things that you're trying to smooth over all the time, like that takes a lot of kind of mental energy, right? And most of us have day jobs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and it really is a labor of love, right? And unfortunately, a lot of times it has to take a back seat to real life.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, like you really enjoy doing it. There's you wish you could just do it full time as a job sometimes, So
yeah,
it does. And Hal, the even harder after when Nat and Coop decided to retire was in 2017, when you decided that you needed to give more time not doing the podcast and things like that. And that was, like I say, I think that was the hardest transition, because now I had to try and find 3 other people that, like you said, Loblaw, are comfortable sharing their voice, their experiences themselves.
Yeah.
That still created some of that chemistry. And I gotta say, in the last episode, I'd forgotten who the leader of Phantom Zone was. And I'm such a schmo because, see how I used a nice word there? It was Chuck. And the reason I'm such a big schmo is because he was one of the co-hosts in the fall of 2017. It was me, him, Queen Mom, and Goblin Slayer. And Queen Mom was somebody else that in the last show, going over some of the history of Corsair Maniac, I completely forgot about them. Everybody did. But I'll take credit, but as far as being the most forgetful. But yeah, we forgot all about Corsair. So.
Yeah, I was trying to think. I remembered Queen Mom, and I knew it had something to do with the Cleveland Browns, but I could not. It was just at the tip of my tongue. But I spent some time at COSAR. It was great fun, you know. But it's just so crazy to see where things are now, and kind of to think back. Like for a while there, it really did feel like just kind of survival in a way, right? And before Discord, it was much more challenging to kind of talk to people. Like there's like a host of different types of apps that we started with, right? Like I mean, I can't even remember all of them.
Oh, geez. Skype. Skype was the big one that we used.
Yeah, but what about
Yeah, we use Skype.
I'm talking about like inter-clan or within the clan communication, right? Before Discord, there was
Oh.
like I can't even remember what programs. I remember the first one was this program called Bindle.
No, we never used Bindle. We used
We
GroupMe.
didn't. Yeah, maybe GroupMe.
Yes, no. The Buy Forever group was and Rigoletto were pushing Bindle for a little while in its early days.
It was out there, yeah.
Yes.
That's right, and I had heard of Bindle, and that's where I heard of it first on the Buy Forever podcast, and then the clan that I was at, I said, hey, I think we might use some of this to just coordinate attacks, and then they're like, no, we don't need that. That's stupid, and what do we need to coordinate attacks for? And looking back on it, most of the people were probably like middle school kids, so they're like, why are you coordinating attacks? This is a game, and then they got a peek into what adult life really is like, and they probably ran for the hills, But underscoring the point that like the technology and kind of like the side communities that grow around Clash, it's just pretty impressive. And I don't know if other video game communities kind of had that same growth in kind of like clans or teams or whatever like that. But I feel like this Discord was made for Clash players almost,
Yeah. I can't even really imagine trying to run the clan without Discord or something of this quality. We started out with like GroupMe and Line and all those ones.
Yeah, I forgot about Line.
Oh my gosh, Line.
Yeah, Line, that's right. That was one of them. Yeah. And then like the clan wars, right? Like the clan wars that people were doing clan wars just like guesstimating on base weights, like with an extremely high degree of accuracy, right? It was incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, that was impressive back in the day.
Yeah. That was astonishing to me that people could figure out that to that degree of certainty, right? But good grief, yeah.
And that was 2 years before Supercell even started releasing that information to everybody. And still another year before they actually had it so that you could do arranged wars. I still have to say, Noble Heroes bunch of cheating people. The first day that friendly war challenges came out, we said, okay, we don't know how this works. Let's try it out. What we're going to do is we're going to do a friendly war where nobody attacks. 15 minutes after the war starts, I'm in a doctor's appointment. I see clashing swords coming from Noble Hero. All while Hal is the ship.
Yeah. That sounds like something they would do, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's hard to hold back that enthusiasm over there.
Yeah.
Noble Hero and K2 literally are like the two brothers that can't stop punching each other.
Yeah, pretty much. You're doing the circle game.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's hysterical.
Yeah, that's certainly true.
Hey, Loblaw, so when you started up the greenhouse, you were maybe about, 6-8 months behind what we were doing? Because you were in like early or midwinter of 2016, and we were summer of 2015. But when you started it up, did you feel any kind of pressure to be comparable to the other podcasts that are out there? Because like these guys now with Pineapples and Thorns and Married with Clash and just under the CFF name, they've got so much more. I don't want to know if I can call it competition, but just there's so many more choices out there. When we were all doing our podcast, there was literally like 5 of us. There was SOAS, there was Buy Forever, there was us, there was Clash of Clans podcast, and then there was the one with Illness and Scotty, Illness and Taco. I'm kind of wondering, like, did you feel that there was a competition out there, or was it just more for making something unique and high quality? I don't know where the pressure was for you guys. For me, it was just high quality, or at least as best quality as I could make.
Yeah, I guess naturally, I didn't see it as a competition of sorts. I mean, nobody was getting paid and nobody was getting fired or anything, and nobody was going to war. I think I followed your model. Like, I just wanted to make sure that people would find value in it, and I think I don't think I would have started if there was already something that kind of did what the original Kent Greenhouse did, but there really wasn't. There's a lot of YouTube channels that would kind of instruct, but you can't really listen to YouTube in the car, safely. That's where I listen to it. I listen to, your podcast in the car, and that's where I did my listening because I was too ashamed to listen to it anywhere else, except if
Like singing, you only do it in the shower or in the car.
that's right, when nobody else is watching. Yeah, and so I wasn't concerned about like kind of competition or anything like that. There was just too many topics for me to cover, I think, that I wanted to get to that I just didn't have time to before I kind of turned over the reins. So I was never afraid of nothing to broadcast on, but it was more of just how much time can you actually spend on something like this until it kind of consumes you, and you want to make it sound as good as you can. It's hard to just release kind of a half baked product and kind of a trap, But that's an interesting question that you posed. But yeah, for me it was let's just get some content that people would find useful.
Yeah. But I think it's interesting because people have said, well, Clash is slowly dying and this and that, but
Yeah.
there's more podcasts focused on Clash now than ever before, it seems, with Crystal to Join, Clash on the Potty, and all the other ones. I just, you just almost don't have time to listen to them.
Okay, so what then drives that?
Well, I was just going to say that I think that it's just because we have been in it so long, and everybody that we talk to are the ones that are saying Clash is dying because we're seeing people drop out of the game. But as an example, my son, who's now 16, who I had tried getting to play Clash when he was 10, just the other day, as a matter of fact, he just asked me if he could have $5 for gems. Because now he's getting into it. He's starting up with clan that there's other kids in. And so I don't think that it's dying. It's just there's so many different niches of players and communities and what have you that every one of these podcasts can fit one of those roles.
Mm-hmm.
What was Illness and Taco's podcast called?
Clashcast, yes.
Clashcast. Yeah, I mean, Clashcast was their niche was they were rude, crude, and in your face. We tried to be as professional as we could. You had the SOAS podcast who just smoked a bowl and started talking.
Yeah, that was the Frat Boy podcast. It was the whole reason that you listened to it.
Exactly. So there was niches that we all were able to fill, and like you said, Loblaw, that you filled a niche that wasn't out there for the beginning player because most beginning players aren't going and looking for podcasts right away.
Yeah, that's true. And you know what I often wonder. So Clash Files family is a pretty mature family, right? Like a lot of stuff we do. I wonder what podcasts were in this stage of kind of maturity when the Clash Files started to kind of spool up, right? Like when I was kind of searching for clans before I joined the Clash Files family. There was one that it was like some sort of like Greek themed or Spartan themed. Like they had a beautiful website and all the clans were some sort of Greek name, like Spartan this, Spartan that. And like they seemed very well developed, right? I wonder if they were like, at the time where we were discovering it, they're like, oh, Clash is dying. If that's just a common trope where like the older generations always say Clash is dying. But I mean, they're pumping out these like really big town halls, and I can't imagine they're doing that if Clash is dying, right? There's got to be somebody paying for gems and playing if they're going to keep developing these very, very involved kind of town hall upgrades, right? Because when we were playing, like it took forever to get like town hall 11, right? When Town Hall 11 came, it's like a huge gap. It was like The Force Awakens came, right? Like it's that huge gap in time.
Ever.
Yeah, it was about a year and a half or so between Town Hall 10 and Town Hall 11 because 11 was when they had ClashCon over in Helsinki. They had the big announcement of the Eagle. Jezza did the song.
Oh, that's right.
Back in our day, when there was just the 5-6 of us, really, that I knew of, there was a whole lot of game content coming out. I mean, it was almost every episode that we were on for the first 6 months, we were talking about an update. Or we were talking about the next update that was coming that they had announced some sneak peeks about, or there was the game itself was creating a lot of content and discussion in the podcast, between the hosts and the guests about what it is, how it works, this, that, or the other thing. What have you tried? And it seems like, the game itself, they're not really releasing new troop or, maybe as much new content as it is the faster progression in the game.
Yeah.
More people are able to catch up a lot faster now than back in our day. You can get a lot more value, I feel, in just buying the gold pass in the game. In the 2 years that's been out, approximately, if I had continued to play even, the gold pass in the last 2 years provided more value than any of the bonuses that they've ever given and most of the gems that I ever spent within the game.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, the gold pass and these magic items, it makes such a big difference.
Yeah.
For a lot less. That's where I'm saying that the ability for these content providers to actually get into the game, catch up, and be competitive. I was talking to Turbo just yesterday about whether I was playing or not, and I said, not really, because I just don't have a lot of time to farm. And I can't, as an under-leveled Town Hall, as a 13, I can't sit in Legends now.
Yeah.
I mean, back when I was the max Town Hall, yeah, it was easy. I did it for 2.5 years before and after the change. But as an underleveled, it's just a struggle and it's a frustrating experience. So then you sink back down and you continue to get hammered. Like I say, I don't know which it is. And now that you guys are sort of taking the helms of the podcast, do you think it's the easier progression, or do you just think that it's people have just finally found their niches?
For me, I think it's because I'm farming 12, a 13, and a 14 right now. Definitely things are moving along more, I won't say quickly, but they're moving along a little bit more smoothly, simply because you get the gold pass on each one. And especially you have on the builder base, if you have the 6th builder, you're just able to put things down more quickly, and it speeds up the building time as you get farther into the gold pass. So
Town Hall do you get the 6th builder at?
Is it 10?
10.
Well, see, dude, you got to remember, you probably ignored builder base altogether.
I don't have 6 builders. I've got 5 builders.
You got to have the max builder base.
I got to do night mode to get a... Oh, you've got to... Yeah, I'm never getting a 6 builder.
You got to have a max builder base with a max hero so that he can build then the max auto. And once you build the max auto, and a bunch of other crap are upgraded, because it's about, I don't know how many things it was now. I want to say at least 5 or 6 other things were dependent on getting that. But that's why you don't have it, Hal, because you didn't play night mode.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
I'm going to check. Okay, so I'm Builder Hall level 7. So I
You got to be Builder Hall 9, and
okay.
yeah, you have to have a level 30 Builder Man.
Max level cannon cart.
Just rush to Builder Hall 9. Just get to Builder Hall 9. It doesn't matter on Builder Hall if you rush.
Yeah. So you guys are you guys like competitively playing Builder Hall, or is that just kind of a way to kind of enhance the regular game, right? Or is that I feel like that was kind of meant to be kind of like almost like a Clash Royale type person versus person, kind of pick it up and play for a couple minutes. Has it become that, or people just kind of do it, get the 6 builder, you get like the gem, like the little gem mine, and then
It's the mode that, Supercell forgot.
okay,
Once I hit 10 and maxed out and got that builder, that was about it.
Yeah.
Just
It
kinda
was like,
neglected.
just a little mini game within a game.
Gotcha.
Yeah. It allows me to do clan games on my 14.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yes, that was the advantage of it, is you could burn through a whole bunch of clan game stuff with using your clock tower boosts and
Yes.
other potions and stuff like that. You could hammer out all your points in one day.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember, this was before the bowler came out, right? There was some sort of like, somebody had a leak or something like that, or there was some sort of Supercell hack, and they said that somebody had reported on finding that there's some sort of chain lightning type program. Do you remember this?
Yes. Yes.
Am I? Yeah. And,
Me too.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do, and I was actually going to ask earlier if any of you remember, there was one specific person that had access to the code. He was a programmer or whatever, and was able to read the developer code in the game somehow, and he would always come up with these things. And that chain lightning was one of them.
Well, looking back, I think he found super wall breakers, because I'm like 90% sure there was a super wall breaker type troop in all of that.
yeah. So I think like I brought up the chain lightning because I would imagine the chain lightning where damage goes from source to point A to point B must have looked like chain lightning, but ended up as the bowler. And then when the bowler came out, people were like, "What is this?" Every time a new troop comes out, people tend to have a negative reaction to it, right? Like the bowler, they said it looked like the genie from Aladdin, and it was stupid, and all this stuff.
I can remember Reagan on Hell for the bowler.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember stopping at an Oasis on a tollway to try out the bowler when that update came out. I maxed that thing out as quick as I could.
Yeah, and Loblaw, I don't think that Chain Lightning became the bowler. I think Chain Lightning just became the Electro Drag, and it just
I think so too.
Oh, yeah, that's true too. Yeah. Good point.
took much longer for them to figure out that troop. I mean, you got to remember that again. That was in 2016, 3 years into the game. They had a whole pile of ideas sitting in a basket,
Yeah.
and all of them would have been in, and probably even in some kind of initial phases, even if it's just one developer working on it, saying this is the mechanics that I'm kind of thinking of, and all of that's going to be in the common resource pool. That this, geez, I wish I could remember who the tag was that got in, but.
Mhm. Well, I remember Scott. I think it was Scotty who said they were doing like a wish list, like what troop they would want to see, and I think he actually specifically articulated how cool it would be if there was some sort of battering ram
Yep,
that would break walls.
absolutely.
And lo and behold, here's the battering ram, right? And it's
Yeah, the battering ram,
yeah, like it goes underground. Yeah, it's fantastic.
and then the worm or something that he wanted to go straight to the town hall. That became the blimp.
It just goes to prove that as much as we all might have said back in those days, but I think Supercell actually was listening. I mean, they never gave any acknowledgement other
sure.
than I think we got maybe one or two retweets from Supercell about something. Very few podcasters ever did. I mean, again, Clashcast, you kind of understand why maybe they weren't mentioned. I think Scotty A27 was credible ambassador for the game, but they never embraced the audio content. They went with the YouTubers at the time. I mean, I see why, because the subscribership is, day and night. Oh, and Loblaw, yes, you can safely listen to YouTube videos in your car. Your data is just going to suffer. I did that on the way to the city a couple of times, and then I'm like a week left of my plan. I go, oh crap! Now we're paying extra for that.
Yeah, and back then you don't have unlimited plans, so yeah. I've always wondered, like, what Supercell's kind of reaction is. They're probably I think they're probably just in shock that so many people had such strong feelings for this kind of little game that they made. They probably didn't even see it otherwise. Yeah.
Well, especially when they started realizing that the players were changing the way that the game was played based on what they were learning. Trying
They're probably
to
shocked.
figure out the base weights and set up arranged wars. They probably never even thought of that.
It'd be like if going to the jungle and seeing chimpanzees, form their own cities.
But then they hear the community talking about it and doing it. They're like, okay, that sounds like a good idea.
And still through, which we probably did in our own respective and figurative and literal ways, right? Yeah.
And still throw poop. Yeah, there's a lot of poop slinging.
Oh, there was a lot of poop flinging back then, at least.
Hey, so I was looking at these notes. There's so many things that I have questions on for you. What is a June qualifier challenge? Like you said, what does that even mean?
Oh, well, okay. There's in the events tab, sometimes they give you special little challenges to do, whether it's using certain troops or
Okay.
they've been coming up with these special challenges every month. Like they give you a specific type of base, and it doesn't matter what town hall you are, you get certain troops and all max heroes, and they tell you to go triple this base and you get a reward like potions or gems or whatever.
Okay.
And so the latest one they did was really neat. They took, forget whose base it was, but a pro player's base. They took the exact army that this other player had taken to triple it, and they said, now you pretend you're the pro player and you go and triple this base.
So this is different than seasons. Like this is is there a current event right now that has this, or
it just finished? Yeah.
It's just passed, yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
So this is about the third special one, I think. Maybe the fourth. Yeah, it started with the jungle one way back when.
That is a really, really cool idea. Yeah, what a way to engage people, kind of like, playing the pros and whatnot.
Right. Yeah, there's a couple of different.
And I'd never heard of it.
Yeah. Well, you think about it, there's a very large segment of the Clash playing community that is completely unaware of pro scene and, organized war and all that sort of stuff. So when they see this kind of event, it's sort of like, well, what is this? So it's sort of an untapped market for them.
Oh, I see there's another 7-day war coming in 7 days. All right, fantastic.
There's always a 7-day war coming in 7 days.
Okay. Oh, is that right? Okay, great. So not special.
Special, not special.
Special, not special.
Yeah.
This all comes back to, again, the rewards or for playing from now as opposed to back then. I mean, for us, the rewards were at the most 100 gems for getting 3 stars on an achievement. Has anybody gotten the 5,000 defenses?
Yeah. Ask me in 20 years when I'm still.
Hey, I've got over 1,000 defenses. I don't know how that happened.
I still don't know of anybody who has that achievement.
Other than those ones that go sink down purposely in silver and just leave their base undefended.
Yeah.
Back when you could actually do that. And I was always bent that the gold and elixir achievements were capped at 2 billion, and 30 million for dark elixir or something like that. You could never actually have the true amounts that you'd stolen over the years. That was just a source of pride for me, as horrible as that may seem, is how much crap have I taken?
Just time in, I guess, huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me ask the current crop here. Like, what do you guys feel is kind of the biggest draw for players now? What are people spending the most time on? Where's the discussion kind of most dominated by in terms of clan chat, or what's the biggest topic of conversation and interest?
For me right now, it's all the Town Hall 14 stuff.
Okay.
Everybody's still, what should I upgrade? And everybody's still working through how the pets work and what the best combination is with that. So, I think I'm limiting myself by only talking to other Town Hall 14s, of course. I have lower accounts, but the 14 is really where I'm interested in. And I know a couple of guys and girls that are pushing hard to try and get up to that top town hall again to get all the latest bells and whistles, the latest toys to play with.
Is it conventional wisdom still to upgrade your offense first before your defense? Like you get your heroes up?
No.
No, that's not conventional wisdom anymore?
Well, I mean, to upgrade, it's heroes, right?
Uh-huh.
The most important as far as I think pretty much any town hall. But now we tell people as soon as you say, for example, go from 9 to 10, drop your infernos. Like in Kent Greenhouse, when somebody goes up, that's what we tell them.
Because since the last time that we all talked, I pushed the button to go to 13. So, and
wow.
Yeah.
Hey, congratulations.
That's huge.
And I've been wondering about that, is whether I should drop those scatter shots or not.
Yes, definitely.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
It makes you much harder to play against.
Yeah, even I know that.
And max those.
Hey, I still want to be Town Hall 9.
Forever.
Town Hall 9 really is my favorite town hall. It will always be my favorite. So then, do people still max out like all their defense, all their offense, and all their walls before they upgrade to the next town hall, or is that not really common anymore?
I still highly recommend it. Mooring over at KGH, we get a lot of people always asking us, like only 10 more levels on my queen before I move up, or my king, whatever, and a bunch of walls. Like, take your time, enjoy being that town hall, learn what you can, max everything. It's just so much easier to hit that next town hall level if everything's maxed.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, people are kind of seen as lepers if they came with a really rushed base, but I guess that stigma is slowly fading a little bit, but especially with all these brand new town halls coming, right?
It depends. Yeah. If for Redthorn, if somebody was a rushed 12 or 13 coming to war with us, I would say, no, you really aren't going to have any fun warring with us because you're going to get slaughtered.
Gotcha.
Whereas in Kent Greenhouse, we'll take some.
You're supposed to come.
Well, we can help you fix that because it's a little bit more forgiving, the kind of wars that we run there with the mixed breakdowns.
True, right.
Running from Town Hall 7 all the way up to 14.
So there's no more Town Hall 4s or 5s coming into Kent Greenhouse?
Yeah, we just kind of capped it at 7 recently. You'd throw a Town Hall 5 and 4 into war, and they'd be matched up against an 8 or 9. And
yeah, they're not going to have any fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And how long does it take now to get from Town Hall 5 or whatever to Town Hall 7? I think they've really
A
accelerated.
week, right?
Yeah, they've
Yeah.
really accelerated the timing, so they're pushing everybody to be higher level.
Yeah, that makes more sense. Yeah, absolutely.
So the CFF is pretty international in scope. So talking about clans, like you guys have all been in leadership in various clans. What challenges have you guys faced as clan leadership in accommodating people's time zones?
War start times.
Yes, absolutely.
That was always such a big deal with the international crowd, is because some people just can't get their both their attacks in depending on when the war starts. And I know, especially with Noble Hero, we had quite a number of folks from the UK. Tony, who's one of the leaders that rotates, basically he's the guy over there. But he had a lot of trouble when we would do when I first took over and was doing it at a convenient time in the United States. But it's since kind of coalesced around this exact time that we're talking, because it seems like everybody was able to get their attacks in with this starting. Now, we didn't have too many Aussies or folks from Japan or the Asia Pacific area. So I don't know if that would throw a wrench into it, or if anybody's had to deal with that. But it really turned into a late afternoon West Coast, early evening East Coast, so that the UK guys could get up in the morning and get their attack and make sure to get another attack later in the evening.
Yeah, this is before calling bases was easy, right? So it was just kind of like you'd have to kind of wait. The etiquette was you do one attack, you let everybody go through one before you hit two, but it just becomes very difficult if there's no calling base system. It got easier after we were able to use different tools to call bases, and I can't even remember which ones we used.
Yeah, is War Match still a thing?
Yeah, War Match, that makes sense. Yeah, is that still?
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
We still use it in KGH, but Red Thorn we call on the map.
Oh, okay.
There was an even earlier one, just a web-based one that had your team and
Clash Caller.
Clash Caller, yes.
Clash
Yeah.
Caller. And I remember we had so much fun with that because we would rename the opponent's bases. Gwen in K2, Adam, Miss P, a bunch of us were always coming up with great names for the opponent's clans, and we used it more for that, I think, at some point than we did actually calling bases. It's
base 3 squiggly lines.
Yeah. And then there's always drama if the other team somehow gets your password or something and can goof up all your bases. Yeah. Oh, geez. Yeah.
Oh, the days of the spies.
Yeah.
Clans were closed during war, the 24 hours of war, so spies couldn't sneak in. And it wasn't such a problem, I guess, in K2 and probably Noble Hero with the application, and it usually took a day or two to get people in anyways. Yeah, for K2, we ran wars at 4 p.m. Eastern to try and accommodate. We didn't have too many UK people. I think the worst was Freshy, and he was over in Switzerland. You guys in KGH probably had the biggest difficulty or sort of amount of people that you had to cover, because you just seem to have more people from Asia and North America and the UK and than any other clan. It just
we really have a wide group still.
I can't remember what the makeup was in ours. I remember Fish was in the UK. I think we had some various other folks around. KGH people it was kind of almost expected that most people were like 3-starring on the first try a lot of times. Like we would have almost all, like everybody would almost have a leftover attack for a while. And I think we had a phrase, we were like, all right, weapons free, just hit whoever you want, don't call, just do whatever you want. Use barbarians or use all wall breakers, like
practice round.
Yeah, practice round. Yeah, try to hit a base because there's one like Town Hall 8 base that always would show up. It's kind of like a diamond-shaped base. A lot of times we'd just be like, all right, everybody, just try to hit this one because you're going to see it again. And if I showed it to you, you guys would probably recognize the Town Hall base. It was probably on some sort of YouTube or something like that. But
yeah, or your Town Hall 9, the general would always show up.
The general, yes.
Yep.
Yeah, the general. Oh my God, the general. Yeah. Oh, that was a fun one.
Exactly.
Yeah, back in the days where you could go to YouTube and just type in the name of the base, and you'd get the video on how to beat it.
Yeah, no,
what troops to use and all that kind of stuff.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. What I'm learning more and more is that you can have the makeup of troops, you can have this and that, but it really is a game of timing.
Mhm.
And I'm beginning to think that, and this is me being not as well versed as you all, but I wonder now, looking back on it, if really, some of these attacks that we say would never work, if they would work, if we just kind of timed it differently, or what kind of blind spots we had to certain types of attack. It'd be really interesting to see if there was a clan that would just kind of go 100% like experimental and just try these off the wall kind of attacks. Kind of like, I don't know if you've all read that game or that book Ender's Game. We're all a bunch of video game nerds, so I'm sure there's a huge population that has read it. It's like Ender is kind of like this. It's like this child soldier academy. He breaks off this one little group with one of his soldiers named Bean, whose job it is just to think of crazy stuff. And in a way, I think that would be kind of like the next evolution in like a clan family, right? You have like
Yeah.
your war clans, you have your farming clans, the casual
Yeah.
ones, you have your teaching ones, and then you just have like this off the wall brainstorm clan that's not afraid to lose. But what would end up happening would be probably like KGH, you just start winning everything, like without even kind of trying.
That sounds like a lot of fun, actually.
Yeah, but there's a lot of pressure to always 3-star or get as much as you want, right? Like even especially if the game is like streamed, right? Like you're like, oh, all these people are watching and stuff like that, and all the pressure's up, and you get that kind of feeling in your stomach, and you just don't want to not 3-star, right? But I think if people can let go of that, if there's like an environment where that was accepted and expected, I'd be curious to see what the results are like of that sort of kind of team paradigm.
I think that might be happening. Some of the YouTubers have a lot of content or consistent content, I mean, and it's just that little wrinkle. They just try the next thing and the next thing. And of course, they only show the successes. They don't show the 30 times they failed.
Right.
And FC now really allows them to
Yeah.
practice without any consequences, as you say. Yeah. Yeah.
So true. Yeah. Yeah. So true. That's fantastic. Yeah.
Well, and you've seen some of the pro players have done these crazy compositions where one guy has barched or something in a league war and tripled, or they're doing the TDH or Noah's Ark in tripling, and you're right, it's like timing, right? So
Well, let me ask you this, and I'll stop asking questions. These communities dynamics always just are so fascinating to me. Do you guys feel like the Clash Files family, Clash of Clans, were to just get stale and stagnant, and people would stop playing? I have a strong sense that the Clash Files family would still exist on this Discord server, but I wonder, what do you all think would be like a new area of focus or kind of like commonality, or if there would be one, or if there is even a need for one?
I think that's almost okay. It's the Venn diagram, is that right? Where all the circles have that one convergence. That's what Clash is to this community. I think we've got
yeah,
a lot of
Yeah.
people that play
Yeah.
Clash of Clans or that now are in the Royale arena or sphere. I mean, think there was a group that played Among Us and still do.
Mhm.
Those crossovers kind of continue, but I think they just keep getting smaller and smaller. And I don't know if has anybody played a game that seems to be what could be the next Clash.
Well, they do have those new games coming out, which there was one that was released in Canada. I forget which one it was, Flash Quest or something.
Flash Quest.
Yeah, something like that. I saw an ad for it.
Yeah, I just couldn't bring myself to download another game.
I don't know if the next game that's the next Clash of Clans game, whatever the gameplay is, I don't think it's going to come from Supercell. I mean, they've had some decent hits, but Royale is about their only competitor to Clash of Clans.
Right.
I don't know if it's even got the same market that Clash of Clans had 5 years in. I take a look out there now and, okay, this looks like a new game. You download it and within 30 seconds you're hit with an ad. Well,
Yeah.
that gets deleted because, I don't want to watch ads every time I make a move or something like that. The formula that Supercell set up within Clash, like I said, it wasn't bad at first. You didn't have to put up with ads.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
could pay to play or you could be a free-to-play player. Now, with a minor investment, you can actually accelerate. I mean, you still can get a lot of bonuses, a lot more than you got with still being a free player. But I just don't see a game out there that is attracting like that
Yeah.
to at least be that Nexium of the Clash Files family universe. I don't know.
And I like your visual of the Venn diagram. And no matter what happens with Clash, that's still going to be the convergence of the community that we're in. I didn't play it for almost a solid year, yet I didn't get rid of the Discord server. I didn't lose touch with anybody in there. Clash was still my anchor into this group of wonderful people. So I think that no matter what comes out, even if Clash, they decide to discontinue the game completely and not support it, this community is going to survive in some way, shape, or form with a tiny little piece of Clash of Clans as our overlap.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Hal. I mean, that's the whole reason we're here for even a second show, is the fact that it's not just about what it is now, but what it was, what happened before. It's not even a was. It's just that's what already happened, and here we are with what's happening now.
Yeah, didn't they plan like a group vacation? Didn't some people plan a group vacation or something like that? I seem to remember something. But and I know people have met up. There have been like local meetups. I bet you if the Clash Files had like a Clash Files convention, there'd be like a pretty big turnout, you know.
Just for us.
I think there's totally an interest in that, now that COVID is releasing us. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the question would be like, is it all centered around Clash? Or, I mean, there was like some, I feel like I remember some book clubs kind of spooling up a little bit here and there, or what, but that'd just be such a fascinating kind of construct to have a convention or a meetup just for all the Clash Files family, like how.
Do you hear that, Miss P? Get working on that.
Okay, so what you're saying, Loblaw, is that you've got a booth 3 from the entrance, and you've got bobbleheads on for $21.99. The Loblaw bobblehead.
Yeah. Also Loblaw bobbleheads and Wooby security blankets and all sorts of good stuff. And I'll bring the KGH mug that J-Law designed and sip my coffee while doing it. Yeah.
I need one of those.
Is there anybody that's not playing Clash that you guys are still in contact with?
Not me, but maybe these other guys. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I still contact with Super Mario Lopez and a bunch of the guys from Lex, Adam A. Bear. And I still keep in contact with a lot of people from K2. Anybody that's still active on Discord. Because some of them, they still play, but they're not very active. I've gotten in touch with some of the people that just went to Royale. So it's kind of nice that way, as far as just having a few more people. I talk to Worm a lot, partially just, he's Canadian, so he gets me.
Yes.
You get that. Yeah, you got that overlap.
He gets you, eh? Yeah.
One of the LexCorp guys asked me about, we were talking the other day, and he had to make some dietary choices or changes because of some diabetes and stuff like that. And since it was Friday, and I always rib those guys, it's Fish Plate Friday. They're all farmers, so they go for lunch, and they should go for fish on Fridays. And he says, out there in Canada, and you got to understand this is with a bit of a Mississippi accent, don't they call French fries chips? And I had to say, no, you expletive, that's Britain.
Yeah.
So yes, it's always kind of fun to educate the Southerners on what's going on up here in Canada.
Have you traveled to meet anybody else? Like, I know the last pod we were on together, I asked if you guys had met, but is there people in the community that you've met? You're traveling through somewhere and stopped in to have lunch with them?
I have not. I live in a small place, and
nobody wants to go there.
Yeah, nobody wants to come here. I didn't really make it a point of seeing if there was anybody within the Clash community around me. Maybe once or twice I tried to do some sort of search and found that it was like one other person that admitted that they were playing Clash and they were in the Edmonton area. There was only 2 of us that were willing to admit that. The Southern guys, I really would like to go down and see for a lot of different reasons. One, just, to finally get to meet some people that I've been really close friends with over voice for, since 2015, 2016. Mario, again, he's another guy that I'd really like to go out and see. He's just been a big part of my life.
Yeah.
Jen is another person that if I ever get the chance, get even close to try and arrange a lunch or a dinner or something with her for sure. As far as a lot of other people, I told Gwen, come and her husband and her can come up and camp on my property and stuff like that with the little trailer Artemis. But I think it's just the people that I want to see the most are the ones that I've really made some of those very special connections with the rest of the community. I'd go to a convention if it were close.
Hmm.
I really would. I think that it would just be amazing to see, not maybe a CFF convention. I'd be all encouraging of that as well, but even just a Clash convention, I think I'd go, and just to see what else, who comes out of the woodwork to speak,
Yeah, those would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Rancid, help me out. Who's our friend from India?
Vignesh.
Uh,
Vignesh.
Vignesh.
Yes.
Yes, he was in Chicago for business, and we met up. And this goes back a couple of years ago, but that was really exciting. This friend from across the globe that just happened to be in town. He took me to an Indian place, and I had Indian food for the first time ever.
Oh, that's amazing.
Oh wow.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. So those type of situations are really special.
Yeah, I haven't met anybody yet, but I'm Facebook friends with Waka because Waka, Fox, and I would share pictures back and forth, and Waka kept showing his dogs, and they had like a litter of puppies, and I would just always ask for pictures, and so, yeah, that'll get me. But yeah, other than that, I haven't met anybody yet. I think I'd like to, though. I mean, especially like it'd be so fun to do Hal Ran, and I just we'll do like a video podcast and talk about how little we know about anything Clash related, but just goof off for like an hour, and eat chips
geez.
and what do you guys call Canadian bacon over there? Pea meal bacon or what?
Back bacon or pea meal bacon.
Pea meal bacon, yeah. And just make Canadian jokes and U.S. jokes and all sorts of stuff. Yeah, it'd be a good time.
And Italian jokes now.
And Italian jokes, yeah. Italy is fantastic in so many ways, but it is so different than the States. Just going back to the States, one of the biggest kind of culture shocks was Atlanta was my point of entry into the States, and all the announcements in the airport were in English, and people around me are speaking English. I'm like, wow, I understand all the crosstalk, and now I can understand when people are talking about me. Italy is fantastic. There's a lot to love, a lot to get used to, a lot that'll drive you nuts, but I know I'm gonna miss it when I leave, either next year or the year after that. So.
So we've kind of already talked about progress on your accounts and where you guys are at. But one question I wanted to sort of talk about was what kind of attacks that you guys are practicing right now at your town hall level. Like, are you working on dragon attacks? Has anybody tried the Hydra attack?
Practicing nothing. I'm using the same attack that I have for years.
And what is that?
It's funny because I'll ask for permission or go over my strategy and for a war attack, and I don't even have to say what kind of attack it is. It's just 2 electro dragons, 7 dragons, the rest balloons, and go to town. That's all I know how to do right now. I don't know what any of the new attacks are. I just say that's what it is.
Have you noticed the
That's
difference?
meta now.
What's that?
Have you noticed the difference with the upgraded levels?
Not really, because I've stayed out of war. Because I've got heroes down and I'm upgrading all these different things. I haven't gone into war. In the wild, I'm not seeing any of the Town Hall 12s anymore. I'm only attacking 13s and 14s.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about the same. It is interesting because I did come across a Town Hall 12, and it really felt like back in the day when I was at Town Hall 8 just stomping on Town Hall 7.
Yeah.
So yeah,
We're Town Hall 12.
Yeah, I've got all 3 of those troops
Yeah.
upgraded already at this town hall level. So yeah, it's stomping on 12. Yeah. But for going against the same or higher town halls, I'm not noticing too much of a difference, which is good. I mean, that shows the balance of the game.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. So when we do wars, we don't even have. I think Waka and Fox do. Like they're a little more current than I am, but I'll use whatever farm army I have and do the best I can. And right now, I'll tell you what's in my castle or what's in my camps right now. It's 2 golems, 4 P.E.K.K.A.s, 13 wizards, 10 hogs, and one of the Yetis, which I think is kind of like a tank type troop as far as I can tell. And I'll just it's essentially like a go wipe with like with back end hogs and a couple heals and a jump and a rage and then a heal in the clan castle and whatever people have donated to me before is what's in that little battering ram thing. And usually I can usually 2-star, and sometimes if I get lucky, I'll 3-star. And if I'm feeling extra saucy,
Yep.
yeah. If I'm feeling extra saucy, then I'll use like the witches and the bowlers and the Valks inside the little battering ram. But that's only if that happens to be in. And when you donate troops, it kind of messes up your castles and stuff. So sometimes I'll go in with like 3 P.E.K.K.A.s and a couple troops missing, and you just kind of figure it out on the fly. But but that tells you the remedial nature of my game right now. But like I said before, I do think that so many of the bases have changed to deal with attacks like the Hydra or this or that some of these older attacks, I wonder what sort of efficacy that can have on kind of how the bases are designed now. It'd be fun to watch. I've heard the Hydra. I don't know what that looks like. I just have to do some research on YouTube.
Peter could always show you. He's very good at it.
Oh yeah, that's
Maybe I'll have to pick up the game and I'll reintroduce Barglebarf. I'll develop it for Town Hall 13, Town Hall 14. I'll be that guy that just goes out there and does the Berserker attack. It makes no sense whatsoever, but look, why does it work? We don't know, but it does.
I think it's timing.
Create my little... I'll play 50 matches a day and just do that selective 2-3 video content that shows the way.
See? And you get 1 million views, and
You're an equal... Yeah, it's equal opportunity troop usage. Good for you, buddy.
Yeah, hey, make goblins great again.
Goblin Knife.
Yeah. Goblin Knife. Yeah, that was the popular one.
Yeah. Oh, Goblin Knife. Oh, I think that you could really, with the earthquakes and stuff like that, I think Goblin Knife might... Think if you could keep 240 goblins alive with the Grand Warden. Just the OP of that.
how big would that? Yeah. And super goblins now are totally the meta for farming.
Totally.
I would guess, yeah. If you're sitting down in anything other than Legends, I could see that would probably work. You just keep dropping them, and they just keep taking and taking and taking.
These keep running into the town hall. It's amazing.
Timing is everything.
Yep.
Well, guys, we're going to wrap things up. We're at the end of our time here.
That's good because my deck is burning,
Oh.
so I'm gonna actually hang up right now.
Okay.
Oh, jeez.
I'll explain later.
My deck is burning. Okay.
That's coming from a firefighter, just to let you know.
Oh boy.
Say thank you to everybody for coming on the show today. So,
Good grief.
Thanks so much for having us again.
Yeah.
especially Hal.
Yeah.
Hopefully his deck doesn't burn up.
Yeah. Well, if there's anybody who can handle a burning deck, it's going to be him. So, well, thanks so much for inviting us again. I hope we aren't too boring and just waxing poetic, but it's always great talking to you guys. You guys have a very positive kind of, just laid back. I'm just very there's just a vibe of kindness, and I think it's indicative of the community at large. So it's very nice to experience. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any shout outs that you want to give, Bram?
Okay, so I will give my shout out to Hal. It's too bad that he left, and he probably, he might hear this, but whether he does or not, Hal was, I gotta say, the first internet weirdo friend that I really had in our days of Dark Scourge. He was the first person that I actually started talking with through in-game, and for the longest time, we had no voice. It wasn't for almost a year before we even got on to TeamSpeak, and we were just talking through the game and sharing our lives. And Hal's the one that kind of turned me from being more maybe just internet trolly, not being a complete jerk, but just enjoying the aggravation that you'd give other people, and kind of turned me into somebody that, I don't know how to put it exactly, but used the powers more for good. Actually get to know people on the internet and realize that, it's not just a land of disconnected people.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes any sense at all. But yeah, how with him is that he's just kind of a person that brings people together and, makes you feel comfortable with him to share yourself, learn to share with other people as well, not just him.
Yeah.
That's who I got to say.
That's awesome. Yeah.
He's your internet sensei.
How about you, Loblaw?
Yeah, I think I'm going to give my shout out to the entire Kent Greenhouse and associated clans. I'm just awestruck by the empire that is now this Kent Greenhouse, and I'm just so proud to have been a part of that, and it's just to have my name somehow associated with that is just a real true honor. You guys really took it to the next level and beyond. So wonderful job, and I feel like the crew in there now is going to has the same kind of thought process as me. Like whenever the time comes where you're not able to do it, you know that you're going to pass it along and with great tidings, and just be grateful for the time you got in. And I'm just so appreciative that everybody's doing so much work to keep it going. So thank you to you guys.
How about you, Peter?
I'm going to shout out the guys and gals over at the Mudgenerian Army. They ran a 50 after the Phoenix Reloaded, and it was a lot of fun. I got to know a couple of them, so that's really fun. And I'm going to shout out Miss P and Inc. and GCBC for doing the tour with me. And that's all. Thank you.
Okay. And Halligan, I see you're back. I think you are.
Yes, fire's out.
Awesome.
Well done.
It's before we started recording. I careless use of smoking materials apparently on a rotten board on my deck. So thank goodness I came up to have another one. Like, wait a second, it smells like smoke up there.
Told you he's a firefighter.
Just in shout outs right now. Do you have any shout outs?
No, just all the folks over in NH. I love Noble Hero, always will, always have. And I'm actually staying in the main clan recently because I am kind of playing, sorta, kinda, hardly. It's been nice to be able to have that support around me as I try to figure out Town Hall 13.
You're active with quotation marks.
Yes, exactly.
Awesome. The shout out is going to be to the Yak on my unicorn team. I want to really congratulate them on the win last weekend and all the effort that they've put in for every war so far. A big shout out to Got Band for organizing the league in the first place, because that was a huge amount of work. So kudos to him on that. So thank you everybody for listening, and thank you to our guests. And as always, please send us your comments and suggestions for the show, or any clan or player spotlights, to us on Twitter at KGH Podcast, or you can join our Discord at discord.gg/clashfiles.